Hey everyone, it's the Diplomat, and today I just want to start off by saying thank you for your patience. I was enjoying a long weekend with my daughter, and I wanted to just kind of disconnect and be able to focus on her, and we had a great time together. And I think just going through all this in this case, I think a lot of us probably have realized how blessed we are to have our children, and hopefully it helps each and every one of us focus a little more time and attention on them. So that's what I was looking to do, and we'll get back on to going through this discovery with part number 21. We start off on page 390. In this case, there are a lot of handwritten notes, like I had mentioned in the last video. They actually seem to be word for word, and they are difficult to read, but from when I compared side by side, they were mostly word for word. So they were handwritten notes of the Amanda and Nick interviews. So I will be skipping through them, and we'll move on to some items that were recovered. So with that, let's get started here on page 389. We have the case number and defendant name, Christopher Lee Watts, and report generated on September 10th. It's just a list of 3 attachments, 1 by Smith and 2 by Jones. Those are just zip files of various information that they had collected. Going on to the next page, 391, we have an incident report from the Dacono Police Department. It is dated August 17th, 2018 at 13:21, and this was written by Jesse Lambert. And the date it was written was September 7th. So interesting. The event happened on August 17th, date written September 7th. On August 17th, 2018, at approximately 13:25 hours, I was asked by Officer Davies with Frederick Police Department to assist with a burglary in progress call at 2825 Saratoga Trail. Weld County Communications advised that there were multiple people in the house taking pictures, and the reporting party, a neighbor, said that he didn't think that they had any permission to be in the residence. I was advised by responding officers that the individuals in the house might be an investigation team from the district attorney's office. Upon arrival, a male identifying himself as the reporting party contacted me and said that he went up to the door and knocked, but the individuals inside would not open the door. I looked through the front window by the door and saw several people walking around and several tubs of equipment on the floor. A male opened the door and advised that he was with the Christopher Watts' defense team. Frederick officers arrived shortly after I made contact at the door. The male asked for us to come inside so we were not in earshot of the news cameras that were set up in the street. Officer Davies asked me to call the Weld County District Attorney's Office to see if the defense team was allowed to be in the house while they contacted the defense team. I spoke to District Attorney Investigator Kathy Holscher, and she advised that the house had been released as a crime scene and the defense team was allowed to be there. I relayed the information to the Frederick officers and I cleared the scene. My actions were recorded on an Axon body camera. So I know we've seen a little bit about that before. Sometimes we have repeats. So this is all of the handwritten notes. There is a lot. Starts on page 394, and this is again regarding the Nick and Amanda interviews. And this officer took some incredible notes, I will say, and then translated them pretty much word for word into those reports that we already read. So we'll continue down here as you see me scrolling through, or maybe you don't. That ends on discovery page 413, so if you do want to go back and look at any of that, please feel free. But again, as I did a side-by-side comparison, it was I could only see that it was pretty much word for word. Going on to page 414, we have some documents listed here that I will go through briefly. I will read the document type, the date, and the title. An FD 302 on September 10th. That's documents received via exigency. That means a situation that requires urgent care. Physical attachment cover sheet. Another FD 302 with the evening interview of Ronnie. We have another cover sheet Then FD302 on 9/11/2018, addition of 1As and notes. Next is digital attachment September 11th, Jones's notes PDF. Digital attachment 9/11 Sanson notes PDF. Digital attachment 9/11 Hoyland notes PDF. FD302 email communications related to Exigent requests, also on 9/11. And lastly, digital attachment on also on 9/11 email.zip. Not sure what that email is, but next page is pretty much blank on 416. Then we'll go on to page 417, which starts FBI document regarding items. So this is date of entry, September 10th, 2018. From August 14th, 2018 through August 15th, S.A. Hoyland, that's with the FBI, reached out to the various corporations listed below under an exigency exception as outlined by Colorado state law. The following information and records were obtained pursuant to the exigent request. Unless noted otherwise, the requests for data went back to August 12th. So, item 1, company, Amazon. Account identifier, Chris and Ronnie Watts personal emails. See below. No device identifiers on Echo. Requested info. Audio content captured by that device along with logs of activity on the device, identification numbers of the device, and any additional subscriber information. Received. Very basic subscriber information and limited logs. No content. Item 2. Company, Apple. Request number 1, Ronnie Watts Apple Watch. Account identifier only had IMEI of iPhone, and it has some numbers listed. Paired to watch and email. shenanking@gmail.com. Requested info. Geolocation information tied to her Apple Watch. Subscriber info and IP logs. Received. Device identifiers to include IMEI and cellular phone number. IP logs. Account information for her Apple account tied to her email. Follow on request to this, in parentheses, prompted by their suggestion, was to provide all the pictures saved to her iCloud account over the past 5 days to scour for EXIF data, EXIF. Not sure what that is. They promptly provided that. Sounds like they got what they needed from Apple, at least in terms of those pictures during that time frame. Item 3, company, Apple. Request number 2, Chris Watts Apple Watch. Account identifier. Serial number. Requested info. Geolocation information tied to his Apple Watch. Subscriber info and IP logs. Received. Device identifiers, IP logs, account information for the watch. Item 4. Company, AT&T. Request number 1. His and her cell records. Account identifier. It lists his personal cell and her personal cell. Requested info. CDR records for voice, SMS, and data to include cell location, NELOS reports, subscriber info. Not sure what NELOS reports are. If you do, please feel free to comment. Received. All requested above. So they got everything from AT&T. Item number 5. Company, also AT&T. Request number 2. Her Apple Watch cell records. Account identifier, lists a phone number. Requested info, CDR records for voice, SMS, and data to include cell location, NELOS reports, subscriber info. Received. All requested above. So they got everything on that item from AT&T as well. Item 6, company, Facebook, account identifier, Shenan's name. Requested info, subscriber info, last login location, login IPs, associated phone number, financial history, identities of all devices which have logged into her account to include last date, time, whether or not those devices can be tied to a separate Facebook account, GPS location, history of the device. Received. All requested above except GPS location history and accounts tied to devices used to log into her accounts. Said data was unavailable. Separately, a preservation letter was submitted for Chris's deactivated account tied to his phone number. Item 7. Company, Google. 2 accounts, same request. Account identifier, chrisleewatts@gmail.com, and shenanking@gmail.com. Requested info: subscriber info, last login location, login IPs, associated accounts, and precise location information to include GPS. Received: all requested above except location data as none existed. Item number 8. Company: Verizon. Requested number 1, his work phone. Account identifier, phone number listed. Requested info: CDR records for voice, SMS, and data to include cell location data, RTT reports, subscriber info, and a follow-on request to this original request. Text message content for the past 7 days. Received: all requested above. Item number 9. Company: Verizon. Request number 2, the mistress. Account identifier, phone number. Requested info: CDR records for voice, SMS, and data to include cell location data, RTT reports, subscriber info, and text message content for the past 7 days. Received: all requested above. Item number 10. Other. Anadarko provided GPS data related to their corporate vehicles and to S.A. Hoyland's knowledge had been doing it without requiring any court order or without the future promise of one. S.A. Hoyland was not the individual who originally spoke to them, but began to be copied on emails with GPS data. Due to the sheer size of the relevant records received, it cannot be loaded electronically into Sentinel. A DVD of all the files is physically maintained in an FD340. A copy of this disc was provided to the investigator Kathy Holscher of the Weld County District Attorney's Office and Detective Dave Baumover of the Frederick Police Department. 421, we have a physical 1A cover sheet, and that is regarding the DVD storing all records received. 422, we get into another FBI interview with Ronnie. This one is done by Kevin Hoyland. So this is a different agent than before. Date of entry is September 10th, 2018. Ronnie was interviewed at the Frederick Police Department, 333 5th Street, Frederick, Colorado. Also present for the interview was Colorado Bureau of Investigation agent Kellon Hassensteb. After being advised of the identity of the interviewing agents and the nature of the interview, Watts provided the following information. Note, the below is an interview summary. It is not intended to be a verbatim account and does not memorialize all statements made during the interview. Communications by the parties in the interview room were electronically recorded. The recording captures the actual words spoken. The recording of this interview is maintained within the Frederick Police Department case file. This interview was conducted minutes after Chris Watts had confessed to killing Shanann. So that's a good thing to note here. Someone had left a comment about when the first one was, and we believe that was probably at the same time they were interviewing Chris, maybe in the other room. But this one, as it states, was conducted right after that he confessed. Ronnie has never known his son Christopher to have used drugs, have any mental health issues to include depression, nor have violent tendencies. To his knowledge, Christopher has never taken any medicine for mental health issues and was a strong student in school. Christopher participated in many sports growing up and prioritized that and his schoolwork over dating. Christopher was asked to prom by a girl instead of asking someone himself. Recently, Christopher had lost a lot of weight through following the weight loss program Shanann was promoting. Ronnie felt that Christopher did not want to participate in it, but was doing it because Shanann was forcing him to. Ronnie believed that neither Christopher nor Shanann wanted another child. Ronnie described Shanann as being extremely bipolar and had paranoid tendencies toward his wife, the grandmother of their children. In one instance, Shanann accused Rodney's wife of trying to kill her kids by exposing them to peanuts for which they had an allergy. A few weeks prior, when Shanann was last in North Carolina, it was very contentious, and Shanann spent the majority of the time at her parents' house, refusing to allow Ronnie and his wife to see the grandchildren. Ronnie could not reconcile why Christopher admitted to killing Shanann. Toward the conclusion of the interview, Ronnie played a video on his phone for agents which showed his wife playing with Christopher and Shanann's 2 daughters. A copy of the audio recording is maintained on a DVD in an FD340. A copy of the audio recording is maintained on a DVD in an FD340. The original copy of the recording is stored at the Frederick Police Department. So we know that Ronnie knew Chris had admitted to killing Shanann when he was being interviewed, because this was just a few minutes after, but it confirms down here that he knew, right? It says Ronnie could not reconcile why Chris admitted to killing Shanann. And I mean, that could just be written in a way, but that is a little interesting because it's not saying why Chris killed Shanann. He couldn't reconcile why Chris killed Shanann. It says Ronnie could not reconcile why Chris admitted to killing Shanann. So, that's strange. That may not be right. We have this note that we have to revisit. That's why I read it. It's an interview summary. It is not intended to be a verbatim account and does not memorialize all statements made during the interview. It does say it was recorded. So I think I'm going to look if that video is available. I know some of those videos with Ronnie are hard to understand, so we'll see. But if you have any information on that, please definitely comment. So it's clear that, just minutes after Chris confessed, Ronnie was going on the defense for Chris, bringing things up like that he was asked to prom by a girl instead of asking one himself. That's an interesting thing to say. He obviously continued to paint Shanann in a bad light. I know it's his son, and he wants to defend him naturally as a human, but rational thinking should lead to, you understanding that he didn't claim self-defense here. He still claimed to have murdered Shanann, regardless of what he said she did, right? And that's still murder. Even if it was in a state of rage, which he claims, which I do not believe, it was a murder. On 425, we have another Physical 1A of the audio recording by Mark Lair. Next, we have an FBI document, date of entry 9/11/2018. This document serves to memorialize notes taken by SSRA Todd Sansett, SA Kevin Hoyland, and SA Philip Jones pertaining to captioned investigation that do not necessarily pertain to documented interviews or other substantive reports. So next we'll get into some handwritten notes that don't seem to be connected to any report, and it looks like some new info here. So we have all their names listed: Chris, Shanann, and Nicole, Shanann's friend, and some notes about the mistress, possible, that's Chris's girlfriend, that's her name listed there. Okay, it says the reporting person is Nicole, and it lists employed at Anadarko for Chris. It says daycare in Erie. Then it says found phone under couch cushions, and then it says Chris said kid found phone. That's Nicole's son. And then it says found wedding ring on counter. And in the video, it even, I believe it says that Nicholas found the phone in the couch cushions. Leonard, that's Shanann's ex in North Carolina. Nicole adamant Chris cheating. So she shared that real early. $62 credit charge for dinner, may have been with someone else, parentheses mom. Chris's garage left open. Nicole said clothes. Master bed sheet looks farther off bed. Fitted sheet on. Pregnant with boy. No sign struggle. Cleaning fluids. No blood. 3-car garage. Can't see tail end. Shanann's car blocking Chris's truck from backing fully. Then it gives an address on Jersey Circle. Night of 8/14/18. I guess it's just some reference to Nick and Amanda there as well. Shanann returned 8/13 from Arizona, co-workers in Arizona. Troy Anadarko, Chris's close friend with the star there. Neighborhood canvas, 4 to 7 p.m. PD tips to WCSD. That's Weld County District. 651 Mitchell Way. That was, I guess, the prenatal. It says prenatal. Maybe that was the place she was going for the appointment. Troy, Chris's alibi, attitude. I don't know what that means. Kevin and Troy, tech downloads. David, David's name. Nicole heard 3 different stories. Rocky's Saturday. Jeep Liberty. Tony, cameras, question mark. Anadarko, Luke. Boss. Tony, head security. Is an address. Troy, Kodi, Shannon, OIC, Ops Center. It gives a Kristen, Melissa, and Chad. Going on, this is Jones's notes as well. Tony, security, retired cop. And it's the mistress called in sick today. She last badged yesterday at noon. Group me, it says would have. And then that's it. And then plainclothes officer today, tomorrow to Friday. And then the next notes, mistress name, may have relationship, life insurance policy. Then victim, I think it says victim Watts. Married before, North Carolina. He is attorney, must be her ex. Salmon dinner, first day. Responding officer advised. Tips are going to Weld Dispatch. Amanda and Nick, content information, I think it says. It says Troy and Luke. And then it says press briefing at 3:30 p.m. Gives a couple phone numbers on the next page. Says husband FB deactivated. Facebook deactivated. And then Tony, again, Anadarko Regional Security Manager. Page 431 is an FBI document on August 14th, 2018 through August 15th. S.A. Hoyland communicated via email with various private companies to obtain records under exigency for the captioned investigation. These records are documented under Serial 13 in the captioned file and are stored on a DVD contained in 1A17. The incoming and outgoing emails with S.A. Hoyland are zipped and attached electronically via an FD340. The next is called a non-PDF file list. It's a list of a bunch of zip files. I'll go through them quickly. FBI 1A6, that's Troy text phone messages. FBI 1A9, Luke cell phone video. FBI 1A14 is a mistress interview. And then a couple other exigent data, Hoyland attachment exigent data. That's it. Then we have this is now Colorado Bureau of Investigation. This is Case Master Report 2018-273. Warning, contains entities exempt from disclosure, primary information. So it gives the name of the bureau. Lead is Tammy regarding missing persons, adult missing person, assist of Frederick PD. So that's for them, it's assisting them. It's a chain of command. Case status open August 14. Also same with reporting LEO, it says Kirby Quinn Lewis. Approved, so this is also, I guess, to give them the right to support in the case. Officers listed, David Balmover. So, synopsis: assistance to the Frederick Police Department's request for a missing persons investigation. Actions taken on August 14, 2018. The CBI received information about an ongoing missing persons incident occurring in Frederick, Colorado at 11:44 a.m. Intelligence analyst Jillian Ganley contacted Frederick Police Department Detective Dave Balmover to offer assistance with a media alert. Detective Balmover requested assistance with a missing endangered alert for Shanann Watts and her 2 daughters, Bella and Celeste Watts. See analyst Ganley's associated tip for details concerning the alert bulletin. Detective Balmover also requested investigative assistance from CBI. Agents Tammy Lee, Greg Zentner, Stacy Gilbraith, Matt Saylor, Kevin Kobach, and agent in charge Kirby Lewis responded to the Frederick Police Department to assist. Investigation was initiated. Okay, next is Endangered Missing Advisory Report Form. This is a a missing persons alert, so it has Celeste and Bella's pictures, and it has all their personal kind of information, height and such, and it has Shanann there too. For the girls, it says last seen in the area of Frederick, Colorado. And for Shanann, has nose piercings, last seen in the area of Frederick, Colorado. It says Shanann Watts and her two daughters, 3 and 4-year-old, were last seen on Monday, August 13, 2018 in Frederick, Colorado. Shanann is 15 weeks pregnant. There is no vehicle associated at this time. If you have any questions or information about this missing person media alert, please contact the requesting law enforcement agency. And then it has contact information for the CBI. And then it has a follow-up endangered missing advisory report form. And the difference between this two is the status of the previous one actually said activation. This one sadly says deactivation, and it says new information. Shanann, Bella, and Celeste have been located. Moving on to Discovery page 441, Colorado Bureau of Investigation investigative supplement regarding Kodi from our agent Stacy Galbraith. On August 15th, at about 15:50 hours, I, Stacy Galbraith, interviewed Anadarko Petroleum Corporation employee Kodi in the lobby interview room of Frederick Police Department. Christopher Watts texted Kodi on Sunday, August 12th, to inform him that he would respond to survey Monday morning for work. See narrative and attachments. It has some address information and Kodi's name and address. Synopsis. On August 14, 2018, Frederick Police Department requested the assistance of CBI in a missing persons case. Shanann Watts and her daughters, Bella and Celeste, were missing from their residence in Frederick and last seen by Christopher Watts' husband and father. It says action taken that Stacy interviewed Kodi. The following information was derived from said interview.
Kodi first learned that Shanann Watts and her children were missing by reviewing Facebook posts on August 14, 2018. Kodi then called Troy to confirm what he read.
Kodi has known Chris Watts for 2 years working at Anadarko and considers him a work friend. They do not hang out outside of work. Kodi reported that Watts worked Monday, August 14, 2018, which that doesn't seem right. August 13th, 2018 was Monday. Watts texted Kodi at 6:30 hours and he was going to Survey Ranch. Chad called Kodi at 6:40 hours and told him to come out to 1029 Pump Unit. Kodi was going to meet Watts there. Kodi was waiting around from about 7:20 to 7:30 at the Survey State well pump, and Chad told Kodi to go ahead and fire up the pump. Kodi believed Watts was at 319 with Troy. At 8:38 a.m., Kodi called Watts and Watts did not answer. Kodi assumed Watts was out pressure testing a line. Watts called back 10 minutes later and said he was at Survey 319 checking something out and that Troy was there too. He said the line was definitely bad. Kodi thought Watts seemed normal that day, but possibly like something was bothering him. Watts was at his truck a lot that day. Kodi believed Watts to be a great guy. He was quiet and was willing to help.
Kodi said there are 7 total well pump sites on the Survey Ranch. The ones that Kodi named were 319, 1029, 629, and 1129.
Watts was at Survey Ranch alone at 6:30 hours per Kodi. Watts had texted Kodi on Sunday, August 12th, to tell Kodi that Watts was going to go from his house to Survey on Monday morning. This was not unusual communication between Watts and Kodi for a weekend, but was not totally out of the realm, as Kodi has talked to Watts over a weekend before. He was a bit surprised Watts contacted him on a Sunday, though. It was unusual, but not shocking. Kodi let me look at the text messages between him and Watts. I took photos of them, which are attached to his supplemental report. The following depicts the text communication between Watts and Kodi.
So this is Sunday, August 12th. Watts at 5:06 p.m. I have whip checks for the Survey 629. I'm going to go straight out there from my house in the morning. I will look at that 319 as well and run the 1129 if you want. Kodi. I was going to head out there first thing tomorrow to check out the 319. Did Troy talk to you about what I had found out there Friday afternoon? Watts. Yup, I was standing right next to him, LOL. I was giving him a fire stick to look at. I can go out there, though. No sense in both of us going out there, LOL. Kodi. All right, sounds good, man. I appreciate it. I think I still have a couple conies left out there. I can let you know in the morning. And let me know if you find anything at the 319. If not, we may pressure test that BP line and see if it's leaking underground. Watts, copy that. On Monday, August 13th, Watts, where you at? Kodi, just got fuel in Kersey. Watts, okay, I'm in Survey. Where are you going first? Kodi, DPC State. Watts, thumbs up emoji. Kodi, I need to call Chad and see if plans on still stroking the 1029 out there to see if it'll pump up. If so, I'll have to meet him or he will have to get the cannon plugs from Tony K. Watts, okay, let me know before I leave here. Kodi, I think he might be heading out there today. Phone was breaking up pretty bad. I guess I'm headed out that way to start up the 1029 and Chad will be meeting me out there. Out. And that was around 6:30 to 7 in the morning there. This is now after 7 a.m. Watts, okay, copy. Kodi, I'm here at the 1029 now. You mind coming out here, just in case something gets sideways? Watts, yeah, I'm at 319, 1 sec. And that was at 7:43 a.m. Kodi, 10-4, how's it look? Watts, fresh, LOL. Kodi, is it a lot? Watts, photo of pipes into the ground with apparent leak. Kodi, want me to bring some gator? We can try and pressure test the line too if you want. Watts, I got it handled. Thanks though. Kodi, 10-4. So interesting there is Chris's use of LOL. It seems like all the different times in the interviews, and you even see in these text messages when he's giving that little chuckle, he's usually up to something. And you even see Kodi offering to do things to help at 319, and Watts is saying, I got it handled. You know, he probably does not want anyone trying to get involved because he has other plans. Okay, additional from Kodi. Kodi did not know that Survey 629 needed whip checks. Kodi provided that no one really likes going out there to survey as it is so far. If Watts would not have gone to survey Monday morning, he would have gone to the office. Kodi did not know the last time Watts may have been out to survey ranch. Kodi estimated that Watts spends 95% of his time in the field and 5% in the office. He would spend 1 to 2 hours in the Platteville office in the morning. Watts was previously a rover and is now a lead and works all over the place. Chad and Melissa were at 1029. Watts was at 629. When Watts was there at 0630 hours, like he told Kodi, no one but Watts would have been there. Troy, Chad, and Melissa would have been the first ones to see Watts on August 13, 2018. Unknown exact order they arrived. All of the named employees were in separate vehicles.
Page 445. Kodi believed that Watts absolutely loved his family and Watts's girls were his world. Watts would receive calls from Shanann, and he would step out to take her calls. There was no indications to Kodi that Watts and his wife were having problems. There was no indication to Kodi that Watts was seeing anyone on the side. Watts would talk about family vacations, his kids, and mention Shanann's new car. Watts did not talk about his finances. Watts would talk about family vacations, his kids, and mention Shanann's new car. Watts did not talk about his finances. Kodi is an operator and has a set routine to maintain 24 wells. Watts is a lead field coordinator, which is right under a foreman. A lead can act as a foreman in the foreman's absence. Now, this next one, I'm not sure why it says these four different words in highlighted yellow, but you'll see what I mean in a second. Kodi thought there were some weird things, but commented that he knows Colorado has a high sex trafficking rate, and that the travel time for Watts from 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. hours to get to Survey would be right. The trucks have GPS, which monitors speed, braking, and cell phone use while driving, Bluetooth. Kodi was told that Anna Darkle pulled the GPS data from Watts' truck. Again, I'm not sure why it says that. It's very strangely placed, and it's highlighted in yellow. No idea. Kodi said he texted Watts on August 14th to let him know that his thoughts and prayers were with the Watts. Watts did not reply. Kodi said Watts keeps to himself and has no family here. Watts never came off as sketchy to Kodi. Watts was not nervous at the sights on Monday, in Kodi's opinion. Watts does not have any friends outside of work that Kodi knows. Anadarko employees that work with or have worked with Watts: Chad, Troy, Melissa, Luke, Anthony, Tim, Tony, and Robert. Interview concluded at 4:30 p.m. Highlights of interview provided to investigator group following interview. Attachments: photos of cell phone text messaging between Kodi and Watts, audio of interview with Kodi, which that's available too. If you haven't heard it, you can look it up on YouTube. Next, 447 is CBI, again, investigative supplement. It's an interview with David, and this is a friend of Chris and Shanann's. On August 15th, Kellen Hassenstab, it's one of the agents, began assisting Frederick Police Department on a missing persons investigation. I was assigned to interview David, an associate of Chris Watts, and did so at approximately 1:15 p.m. on the same date. Again, August 15th. That would have been Wednesday. David's bio there. Actions taken. CBI agent Stacy Galbraith and I went to the Boulder County Jail, where David is employed, to conduct a voluntary interview with him regarding the Shanann Watts missing person investigation. At approximately 1:15 p.m., Agent Galbraith and I made contact with David inside the jail. An office was obtained to utilize as an interview room. The contact and interview with David was audio recorded, and the audio recording is entered as an attachment to this report. The following is a non-chronological synopsis of the interview, which utilizes paraphrasing. David stated he has known Chris and Shanann Watts for approximately 7 years, starting when they moved from North Carolina to Colorado. He said they both worked at Longmont Ford, and he was doing vehicle reconditioning as his own business at Longmont Ford at the same time. David has maintained a friendship with Chris and Shanann Watts and lives in the same subdivision. David advised he went to see Chris at the Watts home on Monday, August 13, 2018, after Shanann was declared missing. I asked about the background to that situation, and David said he received a text from Jeremy asking him what was going on with Chris and Shanann. David said he found out from Jeremy that Shanann was missing as they continued to send text messages back and forth. David said he sent a text message to Chris about the situation but didn't hear anything back, so he called Chris to find out what was going on. In conversing with Chris, David said he was told Chris went to work and Shanann was missing after that. According to David, Chris told him Shanann left her personal items, including keys, at the residence. David said the phone conversation occurred at approximately 9 p.m. David then walked over to Watts' residence to speak further with Chris. He thought he arrived at approximately 9:30 p.m. David said Chris was the only person present, and that Chris was keeping himself busy by doing housework. I later asked David what he meant by housework, and he said the carpet looked freshly vacuumed. David said Chris was also making a protein shake. David said Jeremy arrived at approximately 30 minutes later. I asked David what statements he remembered Chris Watts making. David said Chris said he and Shanann were separated and she went to North Carolina for 5 weeks. Chris told David the marriage was struggling. David said he did not know the specifics of the difficulties in the marriage, but knew they had argued that morning on Monday. David had no further details about the argument. David said Chris was worried that one of the missing children did not have necessary medication. I asked David what Chris thought happened and communicated to him. David said Chris told him that he thought Shanann left the house voluntarily with the kids and was hiding out somewhere. David said he thought Chris wanted his kids back and wondered where they were at. David described Chris as emotionally, and in quotes, blank about the whole situation. David said the possibility of foul play was discussed but not brought up by Chris. David said he left after Chris said he needed to lay down, and he and Jeremy left at that time. After leaving the house, David said he has remained in contact with Chris but hadn't heard anything significant about the situation. I asked David for his overall impression of Shanann. He described her as overbearing, but said she's overall a good mother and person. David said he unfriended Shanann on Facebook due to her constant posting. David said Chris was the opposite, preferring to go with the flow and let Shanann make decisions in their relationship. David was not aware of any financial difficulties in the Watts' household. David said it was his impression that Shanann left on her own regarding her missing person status. David said he was not aware of any infidelity in the relationship. Agent Galbraith asked David about Chris Watts' Facebook account. David said he talked to Chris about it and found out that Shanann was writing the posts on Chris's page. David said Chris isn't on Facebook anymore and hasn't asked him why. Prior to Monday, David said he thought it had been approximately 4 months since he saw Chris. He said it had been approximately a year since he spoke with Shanann. David had no knowledge of the Watts family trying to sell their home. Nothing further. So that's some good information regarding when Chris was, by himself and these two guys came over to visit. And, the term emotionally blank is a really great way to describe it. And Chris just seemed to be going along kind of with the same narrative. It really seems like Chris either was drawing off his narrative that he had come up with or using what other people brought up. Other suggestions or interesting facts that people brought up. He would then roll with that. That's even seen with the investigation with Tammy on, when she suggests, did Shanann do something? That's where he picked that up and then started using that. He doesn't seem to have been able to come up with anything else on his own. So he, and it was very telling to everyone. So we'll stop there for part 21. We are starting Discovery page 451, so we are getting closer to 500 milestone. I know we start on page like 45 or something, but I'll still consider 500 a milestone. So thank you very much as always for being here and going through this with me in loving memory of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico. And God bless the whole Rusick family. We pray for them. This is The Diplomat. I hope you have a great day.